I did do a live stream of a daily update yesterday, but there was something wrong with it. It didn't process correctly. So I am saying some of the news that I also said yesterday for those who watched it live in this stream. And that's the reason I'm redoing it. Just so you guys know, this is Hannibal here. And there is still bad blood between All Elite Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling, according to the Wrestling Observer, particularly as it relates to Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and New Japan. And I guess there was some legal threats by New Japan to certain members of AEW. The exact details haven't all come to light yet, but for the people saying that Chris Jericho putting the AEW title on New Japan World, that is a sign that the two companies might be working together. However, Tanahashi did not win his match at Wrestle Kingdom against Jericho, so there isn't actually going to be a title match for the AEW title with Tanahashi and Jericho. Jericho and Jon Moxley, who is now the New Japan US champion, they are under contract to New Japan Wrestling and AEW. Those are special deals that those two guys have. To my knowledge, neither Jericho or Moxley are allowed to wrestle on any New Japan events in the US. And New Japan still has a deal with Ring of Honor. They're just not doing much with that deal lately. And speaking of Ring of Honor, I did report that their final battle show in Baltimore, according to Dave Meltzer, only had 1,000 fans. And I think it's called the HSBC Arena or something. It holds 6,000 fans. They're coming back to that arena next month, and they're doing a show there that's absolutely free. I guess this is because they've been having bad crowds. They also went to the ECW Arena in Philly last month and only drew 350 fans, which according to the Wrestling Observer was their lowest crowd ever in Philly. So I assume that this show next month that they're calling Free Enterprise is going to be Sunday, February 9th, is going to be to try and fill the place. So let's hope for them that they can get 6,000 in there with free tickets, because if they can't pack the place with free tickets, it's not going to look good for them. On the other end of things, someone pointed out to me yesterday that WWE is actually charging over $1,000 for some ringside house show tickets now. So they are getting lower crowds at house shows. The last quarter that was reported, WWE actually lost money on house shows, but they are charging a lot of money for house show tickets these days. So maybe that's overcompensating for the smaller crowds that they're getting at house shows. And it also might be another reason why crowds are low for house shows, because when I was a teenager, and that was about, I don't know, the late 90s, early 2000s, WWE house show tickets, you could still get ringside for $20, at least in the late 90s. I remember my Survivor Series 97 ticket was $27 for a lower level ticket. So I could never have afforded in the $1,000 of tickets back in those days. In other Wrestle Kingdom news, they had over 70,000 fans between the two nights at the Tokyo Dome. The first night drew about 10,000 more fans, over 40,000 fans. The second night drew just over 30,000 fans. Jericho was on the second night, so I'm surprised they actually drew less for Jericho being on the card. I don't follow New Japan, but I'll give you the main title results. Naito defeated Okada. My home phone's ringing here. Naito defeated Okada in their double title main event. Goto defeated Kenta to win the Never Openweight title. For the junior heavyweight tag team titles, Tajiri Oshimori and El Fantasmo, who I believe is from Canada, and Evil. Oh, you know what? I'm not even going to tell you the results of that tag team match because those names are way too complicated to even say. Minoru Suzuki looks like he's going to be the next challenger for Jon Moxley's United States title. And Moxley won that the first night at Wrestle Kingdom and then defended it against Juice Robinson successfully the second night of Wrestle Kingdom. Smackdown did a 0.68 rating last Friday night. And that's about it. I posted Jacques Rougeau's retirement match on here yesterday, as well as the Juventud Guerrera versus Blood Hunter match from the CWE event. And it's clear that Juventud has become, actually, I guess he has a reputation for being really lazy in the ring, but it's obvious from that match he had against Blood Hunter. Blood Hunter's one of the top prospects in wrestling, but Juventud was obvious in that match. He's way past his glory days, but at least he had the guts to step in the ring with the Blood Hunter. But I will be posting his full shoot interview free in the next few days, and I am doing shoot interviews with Sabu and Kevin Sullivan later this week in LA. I'm going to be covering the PCW Ultra event this Friday, January 10th in LA. Ricky Banderas is going to be there, Chris Masters, Sabu, Kevin Sullivan, Blood Hunter, Contra Unit, Jacob Fatu, Killer Cross, among others. So I'm planning to get a lot of short interviews while I'm down there in LA. Hitman Productions says I should sign with AEW. They have no interest in signing anyone but their buddies of the executives. There was someone else. Oh yeah, I posted the Jacques Rougeau retirement match that featured him teaming with his sons, and his sons also all retired on that match. Cedric had a WWE tryout in 2017, even though he's 6'6" or so, 300 pounds, with the Rougeau last name, and he's pretty damn good and young. They didn't sign him, yet they'll sign football players with no experience. They'll sign models with no experience. They've signed a lot of wrestlers with less potential than him over the years. But somebody said, why should he retire? He should go to AEW or NWA. Well, let me make something clear here. NWA doesn't have any Canadians to my knowledge, and they only basically have a YouTube show right now. Other than a few members of their roster, it's highly doubtful anyone's really making money with that company because they're only doing YouTube tapings every 2 or 3 months. It's not like you can get a full-time job there, but they're not taking Canadians. So if the Rougeau kids were still wrestling, chances are NWA would not have recruited them anyways. And for AEW, the executives are signing all of their buddies. So what makes anyone think that if the Rougeau kids were still wrestling, AEW would have taken them? Because to my knowledge, none of those kids have had any interaction with any of the executives. So have a good night, everybody. I just wanted to give you those updates. Going to pump some iron in a few minutes here. Have a good one.